Yeah.
It started, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys, over to you. Bye-bye for now.
Hello everyone. Welcome to Global Bizapps Day 2020, powered by D365 Trams. I'm Shalini Goel, and I, with Ankush Grover, are here to moderate the session. Hope you're doing well. So this session is presented by Avaanticka Narayan from India. She is the technology specialist in analytics at Microsoft. She is a PMP certified and is accomplished professional over 14 years of experience in business intelligence, visualization, analytics, data warehousing in various fields like insurance, healthcare, banking, manufacturing, consulting, and financial services. She has managed business intelligence, including engaging with business and technology stakeholders towards creating a vision and a roadmap. She organizes trainings and leads business intelligence and visualization solution and analytical reports. Today, she'll be talking about the art of possibilities using Power BI. Before I hand over the session to Avantika, I would like to mention that if you have any question, please feel free to drop in the chat window and we'll take it either during the session, if possible, or during the Q&A time towards the end. Thank you again for joining in. Stay tuned, and Avantika, over to you.
Hi, everyone. Thanks once again, Shalini, for that lovely introduction. Can you quickly confirm that you're able to hear me loud and clear?
Yes, we are able to hear you loud and clear.
Great. Let me share my slide before we begin. All right. Can you confirm you can see my screen as well?
Yeah.
All right. Great. Thanks, everyone, once again, and welcome to the Bizapps Day. I think it's a very interesting topic and a very interesting agenda that we've lined up for today. And I thought it's extremely important, since we're talking about, or with the community of the D365 CHAMS group, I think it's extremely important that we identify how Power BI can also fit into your larger gamut of your apps, your Power Automation, your Power Virtual Agents, and how Power BI ties the end-to-end thread together, right? A little bit about the agenda. It's quite open. We are only going to cover three major things: the why, the how, and the what. What that essentially means is, why should somebody look at Power BI, and how do we ensure that Power BI ties to your requirements of a customer insight, a resource management, a project management, or even I just heard regarding an IoT scenario, right? How does it all tie back together? Because the evolution of a BI, or the way we look at BI, is not just in the form of a platform which is supporting a visualization engine. It's become the core of an end-to-end functioning of how a solution could look like, right? We're also going to look at some of the interesting capabilities. If you haven't really tried those, I would really encourage you to look at those as well, in the field of AI, in the field of the anomaly detection. And some of those, you will find it very similar to what you're doing in the Power Apps world as well. So say, for example, you might be dealing with customers, or you might yourself be a customer who has a lot of invoice processing that you're doing on a day-to-day basis. And you may be utilizing a Power Apps to probably capture and record all your information into your common data service. And how can common data service be in turn utilized to power your Power BI, from utilizing your data, which is there with you in your environment, and converting that into a really an end-to-end and actionable insight, right? A little bit about me. Shalini has already given you enough and more details. You can follow me on LinkedIn as well. And of course, we will certainly connect more. I am a tech specialist at Microsoft, and currently handling any of tech queries that is related to Power BI. And until last year, I was also looking at the Power Platform. So when we look at Power Platform ARM, it's a lot of them, right? And we'll come to that in a moment, but let's move further ahead. All right. With a quick show of hands, I want to quickly look at the audience and find out, with a quick show of hands, how many of you have actually utilized Power BI or even heard of it before? Okay, so we've got 3, 4, 5, okay, 6, 7, okay. All right, so we have very few hands that have raised who understand what Power BI is, all right? Okay, all right, so let's get to try and understand where does this really fit in? Why should someone be looking at Power BI as a platform, right? Now, you all work with companies or you all are already part of organizations where constantly people are looking to get away from paper-based processing, right? Processing which is going to leave a lot of room for error because of course there's human intervention happening. When there is people involved, there's obviously cost involved to it. So people are looking at ways to reduce your cost and also bring in your efficiency at top of the mind. So in a scenario where, as we are right now, automation is key. And as much as the number of requirements that is there in an organization for automating and moving further ahead, it is lesser number of applications that you're able to build and lesser number of reporting solutions that you're able to build as of today to keep up with the pace of the requirements that is constantly being bombarded in the industry we are dealing with, right? And that's precisely where we're talking about identifying the gap, right? In a typical organization, what we are looking at is more than 3 tools. In a lot of customers I work with on a day-to-day basis, they end up having multiple solutions in place. Some of them spend on solutions like Tableau, some of them on ClickView, they might have a Power BI, they might have a Pentaho, they might have another custom application built on an ASP.NET or something else. I mean, it's huge. And at the end of the day, everybody comes back to looking at the data in the form of an Excel file, right? And that's just the one component of it. But the other major component also remains that people have data in different data sources spread across in the organizations. What that means is your common data service or your Power Automate or Power Apps maybe just dealing with one part of the solutioning to a certain set of requirements, but there's a lot of other users who are using reports, and Power BI will be probably the quickest way that you can speak to any organization, because the front-ending solution or the reporting platform is something which anybody uses in an organization, right? So that becomes extremely key. And as well as one of the major challenges I've also seen is how are users going to adopt to various technologies that are coming through, whether it is Power Apps, your Power Automate, you have your Power BI, you have chatbotting systems, you have some of the other additional platforms. But how do you tie them all together into one platform and also ensure that you are able to democratize the entire power of the platform to ensure that people are able to take the complete benefit out of it, right? So let's talk about some of the areas where Power BI can really help. And this is some of the readings that we've gotten from the latest TEI report. And what it says is very similar to the points that I've been reiterating, is that it does save a lot of time, money, and of course, the manual effort that you have to spend on resources, whether it is paper-based processing or whether it is automation of any of your tasks. So think of anywhere as simple as, you may be dealing with data. Everywhere that you have data, a Power BI or a BI analytics can be a solution to it, because your users that are dealing in your organization are spread across multiple facets, right? So those are some of the important things to look at. Now, let's look at where does Power BI fit, right? Now, we've been talking about the power of the Power Platform, right? I'm sure most of you, if not all, are aware of Power Apps, and I've seen quite a lot of the sessions as well happening here, right? So the entire platform is a low-code, no-code platform, and it applies to Power BI as well, right? It's not just a visualization tool. So if you look at an entire gamut of your Power Platform, you have the Power Apps, which is one part of it, catering to building applications, low-code applications. Your Power Automate, which is your workflow and your notifications, your approval flows that can be handled. Your Power BI, which is taking your data, building that into actionable insights. And of course, you have the Power Virtual Agent, which is conversational AI, right? How quickly can you build all of them together? Now, all of them very nicely do talk to each other. So you can have a Power App embedded within a Power BI and a vice versa. And what that essentially does, put in, and I've seen a lot of customers from a manufacturing scenario to a finance user as well, who come across to us and say that they may have an existing application which they've already built, and they want insights out of it. So think of the power when you are able to merge all of them together into one entire platform so that they are connected and they talk to each other, and they're very seamless and yet powerful to deliver those very valuable insights that the user is looking at. All right. Let me move on to the next. Hold on. My mouse is acting a little crazy. All right. So we have about another 35-40 minutes to go. And I would request, if you have any questions, post that on the chat window, and I'll, we'll get to those questions probably to the later part of the segment, but try and get into the mode of trying to understand where does this really pitch in and help, right? Now, I've been talking about how Power BI really helps everyone make better decisions, right? Now, when, back in 2014, we had Satya talking a lot about the importance of data culture in any organization. And less than 5 years, we have Power BI, and we have over 150,000 organizations, including a lot of Fortune 500, and 97% of people across the globe being empowered using these solutions, be it business partners or even citizen developers, to empower them to make data-driven decisions, right? And today we have over 2 million users of Power BI across the globe. And that is a significant component of users that we are looking at, right? At the midst of all of this, what ties a modern architecture is the fact that there is AI seamlessly built in to all the experiences that we are doing as of today, be it bringing in AI in the form of form recognizing, or or for any anomaly detections that you need to do. All of them has AI infused directly into it. And that is something which is quite key to the core of all the services within the Power Platform. So our communities that we are looking at within the Power BI is over 300,000 members. There are very active communities and customers that bring in more than 45 petabytes of data within Power BI just every month. And almost across the globe, there are over 40 million reports and dashboards that are being powered across as well. So these are some of the hard facts which I would start with, to ensure that you all try and understand how important the solutioning is when we look at a BI solution or a platform as a whole itself, right? Now, how do they all fit in together, right? We've heard common data model, how that powers your entire Power Platform, how that also connects to your Azure data services, your Dynamics 365, and of course, you also have your Power BI. So it doesn't matter where your data is sitting, whether it is Dynamics, whether it's Azure services, Power BI can connect to that and bring in your data from your other systems, your SQL systems, your Facebook. You can bring your data from your structured, your unstructured systems all into one platform, and then derive insights out of it, right? And that's one of the reasons why it makes it all the more easier to read the data from Power BI, because you get in, irrespective of where your data sits in, you can bring that data into Power BI directly, right? All right, let's move on. Where we stand today in terms of the analytics and the BI platform. This is the latest Gartner's quadrant. And as you can see, Power BI is marked in the leaders quadrant here. And of course, in the Forrester Wave as well, it is marked in the leaders quadrant. And it is marked there because it is extremely really quick in terms of the capabilities, the updates that it brings with it. So all of that makes it extremely easier when it comes to designing your reports, as well as a cost-effective platform which enables users to really land the value of visualization and a data tool in the hands of business users, right? So the why part is all about the challenges, your data sitting in your data sitting in your various applications, right? And when I started off, I said something as simple as a Power BI is the quickest way a business user or a consumer or a developer or an IT analyst or a business analyst has the quickest access to look at how their data is performing. You can have various entry points to feeding in the data, but you need something to tie them all together up, right? Right. Now, let's talk a little bit about the AI-powered analytics. Now, gone are the days where we look at Power BI and we say it's just a tool which will allow you to load the data and just drag and drop visuals. Right now, we know that we come across a lot of customers who say drag and drop visuals are important, but that's not the only or the entire core of your AI powering your analytics, right? It's all about giving users an amazing data exploration, as well as ensuring the fundamentals of AI is given, or fundamental access of the basics of AI is actually given access to the users, right? And we work with very closely with a lot of teams at Microsoft to take a lot of advances and create a lot of experiences powering the business users as well as the business outcomes. So today, we have a lot of AI capabilities that is natively built within Power BI, right? So if you talk about extending the Azure machine learning services, right? There are binary predictions, regression, and classification models, which are by default coming as part of Power BI with no extra cost. And that becomes very key because a lot of users want to not just visualize, they want to have access to AI, they want to have access to, my data tells me this, but what are the other things that it's telling me that I'm not looking at already today? And that is the entire power of bringing in your AI to the entire platform itself, right? You can easily integrate your R as well as your Python scripts to it. So if you have existing users who are, specialists in modeling using those, and you want to bring those directly into Power BI, you can do that. And why would you want to do it? You'd want to do it because and like I said, you might have your data sitting in your multiple systems, but bringing them all together up and simplifying it in the best possible way is extremely important for the users, right? Let's talk about sentiment analysis, right? And that's important because a lot of users today come up with a very simple requirement. How am I doing, or what are my customers talking about me in an organization? What are people talking about me outside the organization? Twitter feeds, right? You can use a Power Automate to use the Twitter to start taking in the text analytics from your Azure machine learning models. Use your Power Automate to wire that directly into your Power BI. And of course, directly using the hashtags, directly find out who's talking about your organization and what are they talking about it. What are the positive sentiments that are being generated out of it? What are the negative sentiments? And what can you do if there are negative sentiments and positive sentiments deriving out of it? Now, if you have this data, what else can you do? Can you now trigger a Power Automate to start getting additional approval flows? So, for example, we used to deal with the BI world maybe about 10 years ago would be a world where people would tell an IT specialist, I want to look at a salary statement for the last 6 months, or I want to know how my campaign has been doing for the last, for the last 3 campaigns that I've been running. But it's changed in the sense where you want to use that data plus add in the data which is coming from outside your environment, which is getting impacted because of various factors in and around us, right? So bringing that data in becomes extremely important. And also an environment where look at a dashboard at 5 o'clock in the morning every time when it's refreshed, or at 8 in the morning when it's refreshed to look at the latest accounts. But you want to look at it only if, say, the sales numbers go below a specific value, right? So capabilities which will allow you to save time, even the smallest of time that you can think about, matters a lot, because now you can use that time on other activities which you can distribute for something which is actually more efficient in terms of time. And an IT analyst or a business analyst would probably be understanding this more when I say that, they'd have tons and tons of such reports where they'd look at these reports and think about it, right? If you have 500 reports and you have to look at them and the values against each of them, it is a time-consuming process, right? And going through all of them may not be something that you do efficiently every day, but only looking at what is relevant to you, right? There are additional quite interesting capabilities, for example, say your natural language understanding or your Q&A updates, which is a very interesting feature. And Microsoft is constantly making improvements to the Q&A capability. You can also use synonyms, right? How cool can that be? You can use synonyms, and it will also add in your suggested question and the automated synonym based on the report names, right? So you can bring in synonyms, and you might have acronyms for referencing to certain keywords, right? So you can bring in all of those into the Q&A and quickly utilize that to look at your data. So users can simply ask questions and get responses to it, right? So that's what we are looking at in the BI world, right? There's some additional interesting visualizations. So let's talk about decomposition tree, right? Decomposition tree, if you know what that means, is you'll have the root cause of a problem, and then you trigger down level by level, you drill down, you pin into the dashboard, and you can go down to the lowest granular level to trace back to the actual granular transaction level of data itself, right? And of course, the latest capability is around the smart narratives. We'll come around that in a moment as well. But these are some of the interesting capabilities you you should be aware about, if not already, when it comes to the AI powering the analytics, right? And this is going to be quite key because whatever use case you're dealing with, ask yourself those questions. Can you push those data to front end into a solution which is Power BI? You can not just take the benefit of integrating with your Teams platform, your security, and all of those comes across seamlessly. But leverage those AI inbuilt, which is coming through this, right? And it's very easy to get started. You really don't have to know coding and algorithms to get started. These are algorithms which are coming as part of the Power BI itself. And of course, you can't really go ahead customizing those algorithms, but that's fine. It'll still give you an extended arms of getting started with your Power BI initially itself, right? Now, I was talking about the smart narratives right now. Smart narratives. This is in preview right now. This is just a sneak peek of what you can look at in the smart narrative. So, report authors, right, or let's call them as developers or the IT teams or business users can actually add and tailor dynamic and interactive narratives to reports and automatically which are automatically generated by Power BI. So end users can actually now start getting very clear explanations that are constantly updated just by the slice and dice of a data. So in what you're looking at right now, what you're seeing here is essentially a smart narrative based on what you're typing in. This just keeps changing, picks up the data from your data and then just populates it. So it's dynamic in nature, and you can see that data also constantly changing and getting updated by these as well. So it's very easy because you no longer have to go ahead and type everything that you want to look at and you want to share those understanding. So you have one single way of sharing understanding of what that report or the dashboard has to offer to users as well, right? So this is what we are talking about in the smart narrative. So you can see that you can type in the questions, you can of course customize it, you can thematize it. And everything in and around what you look at in Power BI is built around the platform of your Excel, your PowerPoint. So changing themes, adding colors, everything is easy, right? And what you're seeing is also that quicker values, right? If you want to look at sum, count, average, min, max, compare, those are very, very quickly possible as well. All right. This is a very interesting conversation around, there's a lot of misconception around that exists even today. And I see some of the customers talking around Power BI using, your traditional cubing systems, right? Your tabular models, which are going to be powering this. So composite models is one of the techniques within Power BI, which will allow you to, one, import your entire data. So it is basically doing the in-memory processing. And the second is it also allows you to do a direct connection. So connect directly to data when you have real-time, large volumes of data. So composite models is that technique within your Power BI, which can now allow a business analyst to extend and modify the models from IT, use your own measures, combine them with other imported data, so on and so forth, right? So you can have Excel files and others. So it's quite easy to bring that data in. So you no longer have to deal with, it's not mandatory for you to have an Azure Analysis Services or SSAS in place to power a Power BI. The common data model and the Power BI is very powerful on its own to ensure that you're able to power that data to do insights out of it. Of course, the right sizing has to be done. That's for sure. But you don't really have to have a separate cubing engine and then build Power BI or the visualization. So it's no longer standing as a pillar as a visualization engine. It's like your end-to-end connect directly to data. It doesn't matter even if you have terabyte scale of data, and that's where there's a whole detailed, move around connecting to the Azure Synapse, bringing in that directly into Power BI as well coming in. So you don't really have to have an additional layer in between. You can directly connect to your common data model, your CDS, and directly bring that into Power BI and get your data represented as well. Okay, now an interesting slide just to give you an insight in terms of bringing in your data from your cloud systems, your on-premises. Interesting point here is relevant probably for this audience would be the Power Platform, right? So think about a Power BI and a Power App or vice versa, right? And or a lot of scenarios where you can feed your data. Let's say you have a P&L and you're constantly updating information. The finance users might be updating information onto your Excel files or your some of your other planning systems. And that can directly feed into this as well, right? So all of them can, that's a part of Power BI because it can be it can be directly accessed in your mobile, your embedded, your Teams environment, your Power Platform, and also within your Excel. And that's something which is pretty interesting as well, because a lot of the data can now start coming in from Excel file, and Excel itself has a plugin which will allow you to connect to Power BI as well. So we'll come to that in a moment, in a few moments as well, right? So just to summarize, until what we've seen so far is connecting to multiple sources of data is important. Let's talk about the data experiences that we are able to cater to, as well as scaling as and when your demands are also increasing, right? And of course, amazing experiences empowering everybody. So we're going to skip this particular part of it. Let's go into what we're talking about, bidirectional integration, right? Now, traditionally, a lot of business users or IT users will have Excel data. They'll come up with something as simple as, hey, can you connect can Power BI connect to my Excel data and pull my data? So the answer is yes, absolutely. Now, there's another question you can ask as well. Can Excel connect to Power BI? So that's your bidirectional integration we're talking about, which will allow you to start building your data, your visuals really, really quick to get started as well. And that's what we're looking at. So scenarios which are very relevant here is your data sets which are published in your sources of data, any of your work sources. You can bring that directly, and within Power BI you can also certify it. Certification or certifying a data set within the terms of Power BI, what that means is you are validating that that data set is right. It is a single source of truth that is now available for users to access within your Excel or anywhere else to start building data out of it, right? So that's a important segment around how can you use your data and not just have users having multiple data sets, right? The objective is to simplify but not complicate it in any way by giving people access to build more by saving time. So we can connect to your data sets. That's what you're seeing on the screen right now. And of course, drag and drop by simply selecting it. The bidirectional integration allows you to do the exact same capabilities within Power BI as well, and truly create the benefit of a complete self-service platform, right? These are some of the interesting things which have actually come out in terms of the Power BI data types within your Excel file itself, right? So gone are the days where you use a Power BI, you go to File and you just simply save it, and then you access Power you power your Power Apps or Power BI directly from it. But this is where you have your entire, if you go under data, you can see this which says get data. And when you click on get data, you can directly click on it. And then of course, your Power BI or Power BI also allows you to recognize what is the data type that you're using, right? Because it's the same model that is essentially powering all of it as well. And within your Excel, you can look at your data set. You can now segment them into multiple categories, which are of course coming by default within your Excel itself. You can recognize them in the form of cards, and all of this is of course seamlessly working between your entire platform as well, right? All right, now any of the platforms that we're looking at right now, you can have questions around how can I connect to my data sources? So there's a huge set of data sources which is available very easily. You can connect to it. You can connect to your Bloomberg data, your NSE, your stock market, your streaming systems. You can bring all of them together. So that's very, very easily possible. And of course, this is very important in terms of the integration capabilities, right? So we are looking at how do we look at Power BI and then say that how does it work together as a holistic platform, right? So think of scenarios, say a shop floor, right? You have or a thermal plant. You may be using a Visio in your environment today where you're looking at the entire layout. You want to know the temperature of each of the cooling systems located in various portions within the plant. So Visio could be utilized to represent that. And of course, that can be integrated within your Power BI. So that's what you're looking at here. So very, very easily possible to bring that within Power BI. And this is not just a visual. This is actually Visio put directly within Power BI, right? Now, why would you want to do that? Let's take that for a moment and understand that, right? Why would you want to do that? So each of those temperature systems or process flows or root cause analysis can have different buckets of numbers that it's reading from your data sets, right? So when you click on each of those activities, it will actually point out to the value that was represented for that particular thermal plant. Or by quickly looking at the shop floor, you can now look at it and say that where should your next products be aligned, right? So those are some of the decisions which you can quickly start taking as well. Now, all right. So an important concept within your Power BI is around templatizing it. It's a very, very simple term, which is allowing everybody to utilize a common template. Template theme, is very clear from the word itself. You can use that within your PowerPoint or Power BI as well. So templatizing applications ensures that you can have one single way of looking at your entire application across your platform, right? The portion where I was talking about a bit earlier in the form of your natural language understanding, right? Capabilities of asking questions and finding lesser time for answers, essentially, because we deal with reports or dashboards, which is sort of pre-built, right? So what if I, as a user, want to type in my own question and I don't want to raise a service ticket and I don't want to wait for an IT team who's going to come back and say, I'm going to take X amount of time to build this for you. It has to go through a development stage, a UAT, a production. I don't want to wait all of those. And that's where, you can ask your questions and get quick responses to it. And it's very interactive in nature. What you do in your, so if you have a dashboard or a report where you have a Power BI, which has a Q&A, like the way we are looking at right now, you can also have a Power App side by side where you type in the question, the Power BI shows the report, and the minute you select that same report or the same values are triggered within your Power App visual as well, right? Okay. An important concept that we've also launched quite recently is around the anomaly detection, right? Anomaly is any kind of outliers. You might have a specific set of variables or parameters that you've defined for that particular scenario, and you want to really find out what is that anomaly, what is that outlier, and look at that outlier and then try and understand more in detail so you're in a better position to explain what's happened to that particular data point and why it happened the way it did, so that you can take that and explain that to your business users as well, right? So this is also something which we can very easily do within your Power BI itself. Important to note that when we look at Power BI, you can look at it in a self-sufficient, independent component, independent product, but it also works extremely well with the rest of the platform. And that's why I've been sort of reiterating on the fact that, as you scale, as you scale up, business users' demand just increases. They want to automate. They don't care whether you're looking at a Power Apps alone or a Power BI alone. They want to look at a solution end to end. So there's nothing like a Power Apps, substituting for Power BI or vice versa. They work all in all together into one holistic platform, and of course catering to different aspects of a requirement factor as well. Of course, compliant and there are it caters to around 44 different languages, and of course we have an active community of 150,000 community members across the globe. Okay, an interesting slide here is around mobile applications. Right now, I deal with a lot of customers who sometimes say, I don't want to look at the data in a mobile. Any customer who says you don't want to look at the data in mobile because of security reasons probably have not really looked at the entire capabilities to the extent that they should probably. And it becomes kind of apparent that we as a team can actually show them those capabilities. So Power BI has a native mobile capability, and you can very easily have your Power BI even within your Apple Watches as well. So I've seen customers who want to look at their KPI numbers on their Apple Watches, and you can use it within your Android as well as your iOS as well. Right. Now it's all about remote work. What does that really mean for everyone? So we're all doing remote work, and I've seen increasingly in the last 8 months of time, a lot of customers and users are looking at have started to look at things very differently. They want to look at moving to cloud. They want to look at remote work. They want to look at capability of looking at everything when they are traveling, when they're probably in a grocery store. They want to look at a Power App or a Power BI and quickly do their numbers, right? So that's the key messaging here, to remember that it's all about the remote work scenario and how we can enable users to do any kind of scenarios that you can think about, your detections, your AutoML scenarios. Is a customer, what is the probability that a customer is going to buy a product? What is the probability that a campaign is going to work or not? What is the probability that for a specific group of customers, 5 segments are going to be created or 5 clusters are going to be created, right? So all of those are points which is very, very important, and it's good to have at the fingerprint of a user itself. So that's a core messaging to remember. Very important to remember, and this is something you can search this up as well to remember, is that Power BI has an extremely active community of users on mobile as well, and you can see that it's got over 10 lakh plus people utilizing this on Android, and over 26,000 users globally in the iOS range. And you can see that the rest of them is pretty much by far much, much lower than what you can look at with Power BI, right? So it is not just a product to look at from a user perspective, but think of the breadth of users that it is really catering to, right? Of course, there's a lot of protection. When we talked about it a little earlier, I mentioned it as well, that we make sure that their security is very easily tied into every component that Microsoft does, right? So your sensitivity labels, you must have seen customers who mark your specific data. Sorry, you must have seen customers who will be looking at specific data set in the form of confidential data. They don't want that data to go outside the organization, and none of the other tools, but you will see this capability with the Microsoft solutions through Power BI as well, that when you export a solution from Power BI, the same sensitivity level labels is carried forward. So you ensure that within the purview of the organization, the same protection is still applicable and it flows through as well, right? So it's extremely important, because that's how users know that they can trust something, and trust is something which is of course at the very, very core of what we do, and it helps the customers to adopt the platform very, very widely as well. And at the data tier with the common data model support, and at the semantic model tier with the support of the industry, there are a lot of standard XMLA protocols. And of course, the visualization stack that we're looking at within Power BI is completely open. So a Power BI data set can be utilized in turn as a source for any of your other reporting platforms. So it's not just your front-ending tool. So it can also be looked at for powering your other solutions as well, right?
Avantika, sorry to interrupt you. We just have 40 minutes time check. So we do have the Q&A session as well.
Yeah.
Sure.
Would you like
Thanks.
to take the questions now?
We can pick that up in about 5 minutes, 5 to 7 minutes. We'll pick that
Sure.
up. All right.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Sure, Avantika, not a problem to us.
Hello, Avantika.
Hello, am I audible?
Hi, am I
Oh,
audible?
yeah.
If
I feel
if
there was some
the
glitch, technical
Yeah,
glitch. You can start
stampede
over.
sorry.
stampede
Yeah,
is
I
audible.
apologize.
Avantika, am I audible to you?
Yes, loud and clear right now.
Yeah, but Teams just enjoyed some technical glitch, but it's okay. You can continue, Avantika.
Thank you very much. It probably could be my network as well. All right, just give me one moment. I'm going to reshare what I'm sharing.
No problems at all. This has been a wonderful and an awesome session from Microsoft India, and we are enjoying it a lot. Great for it.
All right. Can you see my screen which says mitigate risky user behavior with MCAS?
I think it will just take time.
It's still
I
on.
cannot.
It's
It's
still
loading,
on.
I guess. Yeah.
It's
Yeah, it's
loading.
loading.
It's still on a blackout for us, but it's gonna come back. I believe in the Microsoft Cloud. It will come back. Yeah,
That
like
unfortunately, I'm not in the best of network. It could be that as well. I have 4 networks, and unfortunately, all of them sometimes act a little crazy. So,
I completely understand, Avantika. I have been part of Microsoft before. Now I'm not a Microsoft person, but we work a lot and you're contributing to a Saturday being Microsoft. That's great itself. Networks, during COVID year, we need to get acquainted with a lot of things. This is one of the things. It's okay, completely fine. Let's wait for it. If it doesn't come back,
still,
you can still do a
still
voiceover.
not loaded.
It's not
Let
loaded,
me
but you
do a
can.
voice.
I think you
Yeah,
can do a
let
voiceover.
me do
Your
a
voice is
voice.
clear.
Yeah, I'll do a voice over it. It could be taking time to load, so that's all right. I'll do a voiceover. So we're
Sure.
talking around how the cloud security is easily embedded within your Power BI, right? So you can enjoy that when you're extracting your data from Power BI. The same level of sensitivity levels are applied, and also the if you see kind of behavior triggered. So same example, that's one of the beauty of mobile. You get a platform, you have on your mobile. And see a specific visual and probably set it in your you can actually restrict it, ensure that only Teams platform or it is. So you can actually ensure that you're able to minimize the risk from that. And impact analysis that we're talking about. Use your data if you want to trace back how many of data as well. One moment, sharing again because on the Power Apps piece that I was trying to um, share with you. I'm going to really quickly try. What is a quick question?
Avantika, can you try one thing? I'm sorry to block in between, but the voice is also gone now. Can you try reconnecting or something? We still got like 8 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, please.
I on friend.
Is is it possible for you to leave and then rejoin the meeting? I feel that would work.
Quickly try doing that.
Just retry and connect once, Avantika, because like last
Sure.
seconds or so were like not audible to us at all.
Absolutely. Just give me 1 minute and try again. All right.
I am feeling it's better now if you can speak something.
Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah,
We
we
can
can.
I
speak
can
that.
too.
Can you
Okay.
also do one thing? Can you turn off your video? It might help your bandwidth as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Please try that as well. Sorry, a techie tip.
Yeah, I know, I understand.
Yeah, because I do part of my living is trainings, right? So it works always. You able to hear me clearly now?
Yeah, I guess it would usually work, but the
No. You're
problem is it.
loud and clear now. Let's
Yeah,
do yeah.
we are
Um,
good to go.
We're all cool now.
I my screen share. Let me know if my screen is visible to you.
Yes, it
Yeah,
It
is.
is.
we saw a wonderful gentleman from Australia, Mr. Prashant Shukla, MVP, Low Code Crusader, and now we are seeing Power Platform integration slides. Thank you.
All right, so great. All right, So team, this is very important. Power BI pretty much talks to everything, right? It talks to your Excel. It also talks to your Power Platforms, right? So this is what I was talking about. Your SharePoint, you can bring that in. You can have your Power Apps, you can bring that in. So makes it all the more easier because it's a very seamless experience when you're able to show something like this. Because when you put a Power App within a Power BI, you're kind of leveraging the entire platform itself together, right? And you can of course export it. I'm going to skip this part. This is an important segment, which is around HoloLens. There's a very, very interesting article online which talks a lot about it and how, we're bringing in the mixed reality into Power BI as well. And you can quickly start doing your reporting out of it. That's a lot for you to read through as well with the kind of innovations that's happening in this space. Very important one more slide, and I will stop with that. Just all right. Okay. So to sum it up, your entire platform is a low-code platform, right? Now, they all talk together. So essentially, you have your common data service at the center of it. You have your Power Apps, which can be used for automation. You can plug in your data using your Power Apps. You can, of course, have your Power Automate, which is going to be using, for either way, yeah? Plugging your data within using certain workflows into your CDS and vice versa. And of course, your BI component, which is meant to analyze your data, right? I'll leave you with this particular slide while we open up the floor for question and answers.
Great. Then I'll tell you the question. We have Debarati Chatterjee with us. She's
Okay.
asking that how user-friendly is Power BI when it comes to Power BI gateways, access constraints while pushing and sharing reports and dashboard.
Okay. So, let me give you a very simple answer for it, right? Now, gateway is your bridge which is going to connect your on-premises and your cloud, right? Configuring your gateway is a one-time activity. It is not very difficult, and neither is it, and you can't close your eyes and blindly start doing it. I would expect you to start going through some level of understanding of how you need to do it as well. As long as you do that, setting up your gateway is a very, very quick process. It only requires you to open up a few ports, which is publicly listed on the documents anyways, and setting that up. So it shouldn't take you more than, I would say, if you're very new to Power BI and if you're, reading through the document, which is there on the website as well, it should be done about, I would say 45 minutes to maximum of an hour after you fail a couple of times as well. No? I'm keeping that in mind. You should be able to set that up very, very easily. And when it comes to how easy is it as a platform, the entire platform is a low-code platform. It is meant for anybody to start using it very quickly. It's not like things have to be spoon-fed to any individual, whether it is a Power Apps or a Power Automate or a Power BI. It is a very simple platform where, if you are left with it, you will figure it out on your own as well. It's as simple as that. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, Avantika, we have another question. Kiran is asking that we have customer insights in Power BI, both powered with visualization and analytical capabilities, along with measures, KPI for making informed decisions. So, what's key configuration that differentiate each other?
Key differentiation between KPI metrics and?
Like Kiran is asking, we have customer insights in Power BI. Okay, so both are powered with visualization and analytical capabilities, along with measures and KPI for making informed decisions. Okay.
Okay.
So what configuration she wants to ask?
So when it comes to your customer insights, that's you're referencing to the reporting platform within your Dynamics, right? So all of them does come with some level of limitations in terms of the number of rows you can leverage, rows of data that can be reported out of. When you look at a Power BI, it is your end-to-end reporting platform, a BI platform that uses your data and reports out of it. So whether you have a customer insights platform or any of your other solutions, think of your one place which can access large amount of data, cater to large amount of users, larger amount of requirements across users for self-servicing, which will be missing in your other solutions, right? So your BI as a self-service platform is what you will be able to leverage within Power BI. When I say self-service, it essentially means using data, giving users capability of building your own data and report out of it, not pre-built and giving it to them. You can do that plus more.
Hope
Great.
that
I
answers the
feel it.
question.
Time
Go
check,
on,
guys.
Shalini.
Time check, guys. It's
Yes,
both
it was
AI.
great to have you with us, Avantika. The session was really nice.
Thank you very much, Shalini, Ankush, Vivek, and everybody. Thanks for having me here. And if you'd like to connect with me, my LinkedIn details are there. I'll drop that on the chat as well. Thank you guys once again for all the great work you're doing, and good luck to you guys.
Thank you,
Thank
Avantika,
you.
to have the Microsoft representation. We have the PVM Astro all over from Brisbane, Australia. To we have Sarup, our Quizmaster Maestro, all over from Seattle. This is really global. Thank you to Microsoft India and you and Prakash sir as well to come over here and help us out. We are truly run by techies and power jams. And then your session and insights on Power BI was really helpful to us. Sorry, Ankush and Shalini, I'm taking a bit of it. We are definitely going to invite you to lot many things more, and I hope we are going to get the warmth that this session had today, and we are going to get your support no matter how many meetups we do. Just to add to this, folks, we are the only community which does 8 or 9 meetups in India. Nobody has tried it yet. We did it successfully with consistent 50 to 60 online members trying it out in one particular quarter. We are going to do and repeat that all. Avantika, my message to you for Microsoft and you is we are going to get that support consistently. Definitely this time around, there were so many session submissions which we could not pick, but you're going to come back to our meetups and other things. That's my request to you. It was a great session. It was a great oration. It was a great presentation. Thank you for sharing your insights on Power BI. My questions on Power BI will come offline to you. Thank you for that.
Thank you so much, team. Thanks, guys. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Have a nice day. Bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Take care. Now it comes to organizer Shalini and moderator Ankush. Am I allowed to stop this recording, please?
Yeah, sure. Go
Yes.
ahead.
Thank you.